It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 3 here in season number 5. Action-packed Tuesday in which in segment number 2 we focus on field hockey coming off a conference victory this past weekend. We'll be joined by one of their senior defenders in Sarita Arsham. But up first, we're going to be talking men's soccer with a junior defender in Carlos Valdivia. My name is Matt Mendel. Thanks for joining us. We're sponsored, as always, by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Falcon Focus on this Tuesday. For the Falcon men's soccer team will be home at Fitting Field coming up tomorrow at 4 o'clock versus St. Norbert. Off to a 4-4 start overall, 2-2 in conference play. And Carlos, let's start there and just, I guess, your thoughts on the way the team's playing right now.
Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning with preseason. Honestly, preseason went really well. The incoming freshmen were really good. Probably our best class we've had since, I don't know, forever. We started well against Benedictine at home, beat them, and then we kind of went on a little, just a little drought, losing. And then all of a sudden we picked it back up against Rockford. We knew it was a must-win game, picked it up, and now we're back on the ship. Back behind the wheel, and we're ready to go. I mean, the boys are buzzing, so nothing else. We're excited against St. Norbert's Wednesday, and I think it'll be a fun game.
We look back at last Wednesday, obviously a tough setback, 2-0 loss at Wisconsin Lutheran. When you look at that game, what do you feel is the difference in that outcome?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but I think they just wanted it more. It's nothing we did wrong. They just definitely wanted it more. They knew they had to win. It's kind of they think it's a rivalry, but we don't really see it as a rivalry. So they definitely were like, we got to beat them. We want it more, and at the end of the day, they outworked us.
But as you mentioned, right in the ship, and the Falcons able to do that with a victory against Rockford on Saturday. What was the mindset for the team going into that matchup?
We all got together the day before, and we talked about our feelings, talked about what we needed to do. Coming into the game, our mindset was either we treated it as like a NAC final. We treated it as like the final already. We wanted to win. We knew we needed to win. We went down early, but then we were like, "Hey, we're all right. We gotta get this win." And at the end of the day, we got the win.
Yeah, down 1-0, down 2-1. The Falcons able to score a couple of goals in the 76th and 85th minutes to eventually pull out the 3-2 victory. You look at that. When you look at the last maybe 15 minutes of that game, did something change, or you guys just, always getting opportunities? It's just a matter of just finishing?
No, it was definitely something changed. Like you could tell from the beginning of the game to the last 15 minutes of the game, you could tell that we just wanted it. We wanted to win. We needed to win, so we were willing to do anything for the win. We just kept shooting. We kept connecting. We kept talking. We kept defending. Everyone was in sync, and we just looked amazing.
And speaking of the defense, looking amazing against Rockford, held the Regions to 8 total shots. Only 5 of those were on goal. What worked for the defense on Saturday?
Honestly, just communication, a lot of talking between each other. I mean, with the goalies, and we just have to all be in sync. Us 5, including the goalies, have to be in sync to get that win.
Speaking of defense, and you look at just the communication on that back line, how great is the chemistry back there with so many guys back from last year and guys that, like yourself, that have played at a high level?
Honestly, it's good. We have a freshman defender right now as well, but he fits in. We've all just know each other. We know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, so we know how to help each other out, and we're just there for each other. We work for each other, and yeah.
And you talk about strengths and weaknesses. Is there a comfort knowing what to expect from your goalkeeper behind you and Jeremy Munoz?
Yeah, so I've played with Jeremy since I was probably a freshman in high school, so I know his strengths, I know his weaknesses, so I give him all the time the perfect ball so he can be comfortable with it, and he knows my strengths, my weaknesses, so both of us are we're just kind of like this together.
Is there a quiet confidence about his player? Is he more of a vocal leader? How would you describe Munoz?
He's not very vocal, but he's very confident. You can tell when he's on his game, and that just gives the rest of the team confidence. So if we're kind of in a slump and he's making amazing saves, it's like we have to work for him. He's our goalie. We got to work for him. We're trying to get him first team all conference this year. He deserved it last year. But unfortunately, we just didn't have enough clean sheets for him. So we took it. We looked at ourselves and we're like, yo, we got to get him. We love him, so he's our guy, so we're trying to get him. First team all conference.
Well, speaking of shutouts, you got one against Carroll back on September 8th. I want to go back to the Oktoberfest Cup, which was the second edition, and now back-to-back years, the Falcons knock it off the Pioneers. How special of a game is the Oktoberfest Cup? And I know there's different angles we can go with that, but I guess let's start with just the atmosphere. And, the fans are there. It's almost like they're right on top of you guys on the near touch line.
Honestly, the fans, it's so fun. Like, everyone comes. I used to play at Bavarian, so even my old coaches would come. Everyone just goes. It's a good time. The atmosphere is great because the fans are for us. So it just feels like we're at home. It doesn't feel like we're away at all. And it's just amazing. Under the lights, the atmosphere, the field is nice. They got a new turf. Everything is just great and just fits perfectly.
So is there some, I don't know if it's personal is the right way to phrase it, but is it somewhat personal for you, being that you played with the Bavarian club, playing there to kind of defend that turf, if you will?
Honestly, our coach, assistant coach Ben Jaritza, he was my old coach at Bavarian, so he always comes up to the Bavarian guys and he's like, "Hey, this is your home field. You got to defend it, treat it like it's your home." And at the end of the day, we do defend it. So that's.
What are your memories from playing with the Bavarian club? How did that help prepare you for college soccer?
I just remember Coach Ben Jaritza and Coach Tom Zeiss just yelling at me all the time to open out and use both of my feet. I'm very left-footed, so I wouldn't use my right foot. But now, not having engraved in my head, so now here I use them. I use both.
So when you look back at your soccer days, when overall did you start playing the sport?
Since I was a little kid. I just grew up playing it. I was born in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, so I started playing there. Moved clubs to Milwaukee my freshman year of high school, and then
So did you make the commute on a regular basis?
Yeah, it was like an hour 10 drive, almost every day, and then when it snowed, it'd be like an hour and a half, hour 40. So I'd leave school, and my dad would take me because I couldn't drive at the time. So my dad would take me and be like, "Let's go." Right away. Right after school, I'd have my soccer backpack ready, and then we'd just go to practice.
That's quite a commitment.
Yeah, it was definitely a commitment. But at the end of the day, I think it was worth it. I definitely got more out of that than playing back home.
Now for you, obviously having a coach that was with the Bavarian team now here at Concordia, did Concordia, did that become kind of an obvious choice then to make that move and play college here, or was there a process to it?
Honestly, it was kind of weird for me because I wasn't going to play college soccer. I was just going to work. It wasn't in my radar at all. And my first offer was Marion, but I didn't want to stay home. So then I was like, I didn't really go out and look for schools and stuff like that because I wasn't planning to go to college. But then I didn't know my coach, the assistant coach, Coach Jaritza, was assistant coach here.
Okay.
And then he, out of the blue, calls me. He's like, "Hey, we have a roster spot, and I'm offering you a spot. If you want to take it, we can come tour, blah, blah, blah." And then, I came here.
And he came here. Your freshman year was in 2021. You ended up playing 15 games, made 7 starts, had a couple of assists. When you look back at your freshman year, what was maybe the biggest challenge? What was maybe the biggest difference from what maybe you were used to when it came to soccer?
It's a lot more aggressive. Even though it's D3 soccer, it's still, you could be playing the best club soccer in the world, but once you come to college, everyone's bigger than you, everyone's faster than you. I mean, you're playing against older guys, so everyone just develops faster, and it's just more aggressive, more intense, definitely, and that's what I had to get used to.
Then last year, limited to 3 games. How difficult was last season?
It was definitely tough. I was injured more than half the season. I have really weak ankles, as you guys know. I had hamstring problems. Just a bad season, to be honest. So definitely getting to start now again. It's good.
Now, what's neat though is you look, regardless, you got a front row seat to watching the team when you weren't out there on the field. Yeah. Play as well as they did down the stretch, win a piece of the regular season conference championship. When you look at what that team was able to accomplish, what was key to that team's success last year, and how maybe do you take that and apply it to this year?
We just all bought in. Coach told us something, and we just listened. Even though if it would sound dumb or out of the ordinary, we were like, "Hey, we got to listen to him. He's the coach." So we just bought in, all bought in.
And now back here for your junior season and back and healthy and starting on a fairly regular basis, what do you see your role on this team being, and maybe has it changed in your time as a Falcon?
I think a lot of the younger guys look up to me. That's what the coaches tell me, so I try to give them just a path of, if they seem like they're anxious or something, I just try to calm them down. Just let them know how it is and not to worry. Sometimes the coaches get a little too angry and start yelling and stuff. So I'm like, hey, they're just doing this because they love us. They're doing this because they want to win.
Mm-hmm.
And, just listen to them. Just relax.
When you look at your time so far with the Falcons, and hopefully the best is yet to come, but is there a game or two that so far stand out among the rest?
Probably against WLC my freshman year. It was just a good. I played the whole 90. It was a 3-0 win, and it was just nice. I don't know. It's under the lights, but I don't like their field, but it was just really memorable just because it was. I think the first game I played that was full 90. And it was just really nice.
And you said it earlier. That's a matchup that, regardless of how games have played out, that's become emotionally charged.
Right.
That Concordia, Wisconsin Lutheran soccer matchup.
Yep. I think now it definitely has, just because, after the game they weren't really nice about beating us. So I think now we're definitely looking forward to them. Hopefully we get to play them in the conference tournament. And, we'll see how it goes there.
Yeah, it's become personal as of late. But up next, the Falcons, the immediate future, and we invite you to fill the hill at Fitting Field against St. Norbert, a Wednesday kickoff at 4 o'clock, and then at Illinois Tech on Saturday, and next Wednesday at MSOE atop the parking garage in Milwaukee. Get your thoughts, just, obviously take it one match at a time, but get your thoughts on the immediate road ahead here in conference play.
MSOE, we know they're a strong team. I think they're 3-0, 4-0 or something like that. They're ranked as well, so it'll definitely be a hard game. And we're just excited. We love playing at MSOE under the lights, on top of the structures. It's just a cool atmosphere. Their away fans always come in. It's just really fun. But they're definitely a strong team, and we're looking forward to it. But first, we got to take care of St. Norbert's and see how that goes.
What goals do you maybe set for yourself for this team? What goals do you have for this junior season?
My junior season, honestly, I just want to win games. I don't really have any personal goals, just because it would be nice to have like first team all conference and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't want to focus too much on myself, just because I feel like I'll take away from the team. I won't really be doing stuff for the team, and I'll just be focused on stats. But I want to focus on the team, and if it comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Let's wrap it up inside the classroom on the academic side of things, outside of soccer. How's everything going school-wise? And has it been an easy juggle for you from, school and sports?
Yeah, no, it's been pretty easy. The professors are kind of flexible, so I just let them know if I have an away game or if something's going on in personal life or something. I just let them know, and they're usually pretty flexible and letting me either turn in the assignment late or turn it in whenever I want, kind of thing.
So what is your major? What do you hope to do with it one day?
Justice public policy, but I want to go into law for a forensics background.
Okay.
So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I got the science part already out of the way, so I'm just kind of focusing more on the law part. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
You got a couple of years left?
Yeah,
give or take?
Yeah, probably like 2 more after this, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all the best with soccer right now, and obviously the focus first is St. Norbert coming up at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Hope to see you out at Fitting Field for that big matchup between the Falcons and the Green Knights. Falcons with revenge on their mind from that last season. Carlos, all the best to you and the guys, and we're cheering for the Falcon men's soccer team. Hopefully a repeat atop the NAC standings. When we come back, our focus will shift to field hockey as we continue with this week's edition of Falcon Focus. Welcome back to Falcon Focus, episode number 3 here in season number 5. We're presented as always by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Our focus now on field hockey, coming off a big win on Sunday and being joined by senior defender Sarita Arsom. Sarita, thanks a lot for your time. And in field hockey, at least in my opinion, in the state of Wisconsin, I feel like it's still a relatively new sport, still growing, at least here in the state of Wisconsin. You're from Texas, and we'll get into that as we go along too. But how did you first get involved in the sport of field hockey?
Well, it's very popular where I'm from, so but it's also growing in Texas as well. I started in middle school, so when I was in 5th grade, and I did it all the way up until high school. And I've just fell in love with the sport ever since I started.
So a lot of high schools offer it
Yes.
back in Texas?
There's
Okay.
there used to be only like 2 club teams, but I know there's like around 5 now.
Okay. And in high school, I read that you won a pair of field hockey state championships.
Yep.
Take us back in time and your memories of those championship wins.
I mean, they were amazing. I mean, great team, great chemistry. I think chemistry goes a long way with winning, and if it's there, it's there. I think if it's not there, then you can work towards it, but chemistry gets you wins.
It's obviously hard to win a championship no matter what.
Yeah.
But did you find it easier the first time or the second time when, obviously now you're trying to repeat and you got more pressure on coming off a championship season?
I think there was more pressure the second year, but I think we just had a really good team, and I knew from the start that we were going to go far.
And obviously in Texas, everything's big, and I know high school football is humongous,
Yeah.
but you mentioned field hockey is, blossoming in Texas.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for you being from Houston, what is it about field hockey that you enjoy?
I think just being on any sports team is definitely something that I enjoy. Having like a good group of friends, but I think just because field hockey is very different than a lot of sports that I played before, I think that's why I gravitated towards it more.
And we'll talk about some of those other sports in a second, but kind of putting your thinking cap on for a second, throwing you a curveball. You could change one rule about field hockey. You could change anything about field hockey. What would it be?
I wouldn't get carded for pushing people.
So a little more physical.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be a lot of fouls, a lot
Yeah.
of touch fouls. See, my big thing is the shooting circle. I think if you can score from midfield, it should count. Just because if you, it shouldn't go in. But
It's
if it
very
does,
technical.
Yeah, but that's here and there and there and there. But whatever. You also played soccer, softball, ran track in high school.
Yes.
When did you decide that field hockey was your sport and that you maybe would want to play the sport in college?
I think I knew senior year kind of late. I only committed in April of my senior year, so much later than the norm. But I think just reaching out to like coaches and stuff, and Coach Sam really brought like a lot of care, and she just really seemed interested in me. So I really appreciated that, because when I would reach out to other coaches, they didn't seem as interested. I definitely noticed that. So took that into consideration.
Were you looking to leave the state and
Yeah,
go somewhere else?
I always knew that I wanted to go out of state. I mean, I love home, but I just wanted to experience something else.
You ever think you'd end up in Mequon, Wisconsin?
Not a chance.
Have you ever been to Wisconsin prior?
No, my first time was when I visited.
Okay. How's it going so far? You enjoying it?
Winters are tough.
Tell us about that a little bit. So, obviously, I mean, you can get ice and snow at times in parts of Texas. I know when there's ice down there, everything just kind of shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
What is a typical winter like for you, or what had you become accustomed to in wintertime?
Here?
Or in Texas?
So at home, I'd say it snowed maybe twice growing up, and it was nothing like here. It would never stay on the ground. I remember first time that I saw snow, I made a snowball and I put it in my freezer because I wanted to keep it, because I didn't think it would ever snow again. But I'd say winters are usually around 50s.
That's not bad at all.
40s, 50s, yeah.
Jeez. This is a wake-up call.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of wake-up calls, your first season playing field hockey at Concordia, you talk about unique. I mean, you're coming off the pandemic, COVID, spring of 2021, and all of a sudden, instead of playing maybe a couple of matches that counted, a lot of 7-on-7 matches. How different or how bizarre was that first year for you coming here, kind of, going through a pandemic or overcoming a pandemic, navigating through a pandemic, and then, playing in the springtime versus the fall?
It was definitely tough. I think, like, weather-wise, it's very cold spring season, so that was definitely a wake-up call. But, I mean, I couldn't avoid it. But going from being top of the team to rock bottom, it's definitely a wake-up call as well. I don't think a lot of people will tell you that going into college. I think you just expect to be as good as other players, but you're right back at the bottom.
Well, you bring up a good point because a lot of athletes have that where it's like, hey, they may be whatever the resume may say. They scored 1,000 points in basketball, and all of a sudden they go from being the team MVP to now you're number 10 of the rotation.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that, or what worked for you mentally just to get through that going, hey, I got to prove myself again?
I think just watching the other players, even opponents too on other teams, really like watching film, realizing what they're doing, just taking notes.
Was it tough, too? We talk about the pandemic, and now you came here to Concordia all of a sudden through the pandemic. Was that challenging at all for you going from leaving home, you're in a new place, but then also there's all kinds of restrictions?
It was definitely tough. Kind of, like, I remember, like, hanging out a lot, like, in the dorms, not being able to, like, go out and stuff and, like, meet new people, but I bonded a lot with my freshman roommates. We were all close. I still live with 4 of them. So, I mean, we're all so close, but it was definitely different than, like, senior year of high school. So.
And you've worked your way now from a Falcon standpoint into the starting lineup pretty much every match since your sophomore year. What do you see your role on this team being in, and has it changed a great deal since day one?
For sure. I would say I'm more of a leader on the team now. Just because I can tell that freshmen will, like, look up to the older players, and I think they listen better to their peers, and I just try to guide them as much as possible. And I know that I had been there once, and I needed leadership when I was in that place, so I really just try to help them as much as I can.
Going back to September 3rd against Oberlin this season, you recorded your first career point. You picked up an assist on a goal in that 3-1 victory.
Yeah.
Take us back to that assist and how that developed.
I mean, it kind of just happened. Like, I was there at the right time. Leah was there at the right time. I mean, it was a great shot, so it felt great.
When's the last time you recorded a point of any kind, a goal or an assist in field hockey?
High school.
Was it? Were you a big part of the attack in high school? Was it still the focus on defense back then?
I definitely just stayed defense. I think now our coaches are more lenient with, like, moving us around, but I think in high school it was very stagnant. So I definitely stayed defensive.
And from a defensive standpoint with the Falcons, you've been credited with 3 defensive saves this season. 2 of those came against Division II, Maryville, the other in the conference opener against Center. How exciting for a defender is it when you're able to record a defensive save?
I mean, it's a great feeling because you're there at the right time, and I feel like offense is like, there's more attention there with, like, scoring goals and stuff, and defense doesn't always get attention, so it's kind of nice to get those stats and get that attention.
Yeah, and those defensive saves, again, came against a quality competition, again, the Division II school in Maryville, and then Center, who always is right there with Rhodes battling for a conference championship. Now, this season, a new goalkeeper, or goalkeepers.
Yes.
As Emily Binley, now the graduate assistant. Does that take some time getting used to as a defender now, maybe getting used to the tendencies of a new goalkeeper from what you were used to?
I think definitely. I think they're scared to, like, tell me what to do just because I'm an upperclassman. But, I mean, I've told them, like, if you need to tell me to go there, tell me, or there, tell me. I'm not going to get offended because they can see more of the field than any of us can. So, yeah.
And the neat thing, too, is, at least from a talent standpoint, they're almost neck and neck, so it seems like every matchup, you never know who's going to be back there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, good competition there at that
Yes.
goalkeeper position. Speaking of, there are a couple of newcomers, a lot of newcomers on this team, and already a number of those newcomers have had an impact on this team's success. How have the newcomers been fitting in?
I think it's been good. I think the chemistry is there. I think the fundamentals are missing, but, it takes time. We're a young team, so I think just guiding them on the way to success is all that we can look forward to. So I have hope.
And you look at this team, and there's got to be a lot of chemistry because you guys spend a lot of time together,
Yes.
whether it be on a bus to a long conference matchup, in the hotel. You have a fan section behind the scenes here cheering you on today. How close is this team?
We're very close. We're like sisters. We spend a lot of time together. Coach really has implemented team chemistry. I think it has been great in the past, and she's wanted to change that for the future. So I think it's been great this year.
Right now, the team sits with a couple of victories, 5 defeats, 1 and 2 in conference players mentioned, coming off that win against Swanee on Sunday by a 2-1 final. When you look at the way this team's playing, what's been working? When you guys have had success, what's been key?
I think making sure that you aren't getting that tunnel vision when you get the ball, looking up, passing, using your other teammates to carry the ball up the field. It's a known fact you can't run faster than the ball, so don't try to outrun.
Have you tried?
Not legitimately, no. Maybe I'll tell Coach to do
That'd
that
be
at
a heck of a
practice.
challenge.
Yeah.
So you guys take care of Swanee. You've had great. To be fair, when you look at the schedule, it's been a pretty challenging
Yes.
non-conference on top of what you get in SAA competition. But okay, at road Saturday, Swanee on Sunday. How big was that win on Sunday to finally get, if you will, the monkey off the back?
Yes. It was good. We needed that for sure. I think we played well, but there's always room for improvement. So I think just going forward, doing what we do best, and just trying to fix what we don't do well.
Is there something you can point at from that matchup and say that was the difference? That's why we won on Sunday?
I think transfers across the field, just making sure that ball is doing the work.
Mm-hmm. And you look upcoming, and the way the conference schedule plays out now with Transylvania joining a different conference, you play everybody twice. So
Yes.
whether they come here or you go there. So we'll start to see that cycle go back around. But upcoming, you get an opportunity to face the Marion Sabres, who will become a rival, obviously based on proximity, also with the coaching situation. But Marion, you guys go there Saturday for a conference matchup. They come here for a non-conference matchup on Sunday at 11 a.m. Get your thoughts just on facing the Sabres coming up this weekend.
They're our biggest rivals. I know. I don't want to say I have beef with them, but it's definitely going to be a challenge. But I'm excited.
Yeah, you get the Sabres, those two dates, and then they will come back for a conference matchup here at the end of October. Also, as we mentioned, that cycle and conference play at Center coming up on October 7th. When you look at Center, when you look at Rhodes, obviously they've been the cream of the crop of the conference for so many years, and it seems like they play every year for a conference tournament championship. When you watch a team like that, what makes those teams good, and how do you have to go about, approaching them to beat them?
I think what it all comes down to is skill work and fundamentals. If it's not there, it needs to get there. And I think more of their players already have that going in, or it's stronger. And I think that's also something that we can work on too. Just basic skill work, speed, and that kind of stuff.
Well, we talked about getting to know your teammates with a lot of lengthy road trips, a lot of bus trips.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, and maybe the best is yet to come, but is there one road trip or a couple of road trips that stand out, or places you like to go that you say, I love that trip?
Honestly, I think this most recent trip, because we went to the zoo in Missouri.
Where at? In Missouri?
Yeah. And that was just a lot of fun. We would split into small groups, and some of us would pass by each other different, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Favorite zoo animal and why?
I think the penguins, honestly. I had this strong urge to just reach in and touch them, but
That's probably frowned upon, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I think just actually seeing animals that you will see on movies, it's kind of cool.
from a team standpoint, as we start to wrap things up, what goals do you have for yourself for this team?
I think just stay a leader, stay composed, and help my other teammates.
I like to ask every senior, too, to wrap things up. What's your major, and what do you hope to do with it one day?
I am a biology major, and I'm hoping to go to dental school.
So are you done then at Concordia after this, or do you have another
Yes,
year? Okay.
I'll be done, and then I'm taking a gap year and then
Okay.
seeing where I get in.
Well, very nice. All the best to you and your team.
Thank you.
You can see the Falcon field hockey team in person at Thomasine Stadium, 11 a.m. on Sunday against Marion. Check out CUWFalcons.com for more. So for Carlos, for Sarita, for Patrick, and everybody behind the scenes, thanks for watching. We'll do it again next Tuesday. It's Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.